Welcome to the Enlighten Up podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Enlighten Up podcast. And today I am joined by one of our favorite returning guests, Consuelo Cassotti is here, and we have got quite a range of topics we're going to talk about today. We're definitely going to get into some timeline glitches and how to break certain timeline narratives and a whole bunch of other stuff. But first, we're going to touch on very sensitive information that has come up in the world. And of course, we know there's been some war that has broken out in we know where it's been broken out. I just don't want to say anything that might get my channel taken down. So Consuelo, so good to see you, girl. How you doing?
It's always nice to be with you, and thank you for inviting me today.
Thank you for being here. And I think one of the reasons why you and I wanted to talk about this particular topic, especially up front, is because whenever an event like this happens globally, the first thing that everyone shifts into is fear. Yes. And this is the whole purpose of why a lot of these events are happening. And it's really important to understand that regardless of where you stand in the narrative of this story, it doesn't matter to me, and I don't think it matters to you. Just remember that there's always going to be the two sides, and then there's going to be a version of the truth. And I don't think any of us have any idea of exactly what's going on. But we also can see that there's a lot of, let's just say there's a lot of things that are being said are happening. Are they really happening? If they are happening, it's horrendous. But it's all really meant to take the human spirit and put it into fear and despair and anger, and take you out of whatever timeline you are currently creating to reinforce the one globally. What would you like to say? Where should we start here, Consuelo?
Oh, okay. So I agree with you. It's good today to touch this topic because we need to talk more. And so first of all, let me say that war really doesn't exist. They don't exist because they are created, okay? Remember, people, the real war are because somebody decide that we need to go through some situation where they can make money, they can experiment on us, they can see whatever, they can do whatever they want, they can create power, and they want more power, and they want us to be afraid. So when you are in the fear, they know that they control you because they can push you to do everything they want. So because of this, we need to be very, very careful. And so whatever happened there is also another way to manipulate the fear. In particular in Europe, I'm from Europe, so it's easy for me to hear from my friends and clients that, after COVID, they decide, okay, you know what, we need to create something else. But it's not much more. People start to don't believe much anymore in the narrative about COVID and all the stuff around. So now, after Ukraine war, but also people start to fish a little more like, okay, this is smelling weird. What they say to us is not so good. So what is going on? So now we need to create something else. So a new season, okay? And I'm sorry to say that, like you say, it's not that it doesn't really exist. There are certain victims, unfortunately, but again, it's created by somebody who wants to have the power and want to create fear and make sure that people focus on something else so they can do anything else. And they can justify their action every time, increase the price and all of this stuff. So it's pretty normal now. So this is the reason why take a moment, breathe in, people, take a moment, breathe, and ask yourself how much this resonates with you or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, I think there's definitely some truth. There's literally, there are people that are affected over there. There are families. It's horrible. Not taking anything away from that, but it's also, there are other things at play that are being very manipulative to the narrative. And it's all to, again, like you said, it's always created. It's never something that just naturally happens. And I think that we have to always stay on our toes at this point, because like you said, the narrative of 2020 is dying. And now it's time for a new one. And also, what kind of fear do they need to put you in order to produce the next thing that they're going to hit you with? So like, this is not, I don't think this is going to be something that gets resolved anytime soon. And you need to really check in with yourself about where your energy is really going to. You can hold space for peace in your heart. You can hold space by envisioning families together and happy and joyous, and communities that would have never come together, coming together and celebrating one another's individuality, beliefs, and not feeling the need to push on one another. You can see that in your heart. Like, there are so many ways to counter this. But of course, when you see what you're seeing through social media and on the news, it's very difficult to go into those places because it completely ungrounds you. It activates your reptilian brain because that's your fight or flight. And now you've succumbed to the energy force that they're wanting you to be involved in.
Yes, and don't forget, these are the way to anchor you back to the old system. Every time you were exposed to something like this, very extreme, they bring a lot of emotions, fear, anxiety, is a way to anchor you to the old belief and old way to see stuff. So you start to feel anger, you start to bicker with other people in the media, people start to question, take a side, be careful. So all of it is about be back to the old way, because there are certain people, they don't like us to evolve. They don't like us to become more independent, more free. So creating this again and again is take you in the same loop. So be very, very careful. And nobody's true, nobody, like, let go. Don't discuss with people about this. Just like you say, hold the space, maybe sense of love to these children, to this family, and as the higher self, and remember to deal with this at their best. But remember, everybody is in the right time, in the right moment. So it doesn't mean that you don't care about the other people, but you also need to recognize their own path. And probably they decide to come over here and to go through this not easy situation because they are learning something or they are teach us something. So there is always something to give and to receive for every side. So hold the space is the best way, like you said, and send love and say, okay, you are your energy, I am my own energy. So detach yourself from this. Recognize there's something happening and it's okay, but we need to move on. It doesn't mean that we don't recognize it, but you recognize it. You recognize it and in a way that you know what kind of situation could be. And so let go, let go, let go. And this is very, very important. About this, I don't know if I can share this, but last week, I was working with some Native American. This is one of my clients, and we know for a long time. And when I was working with her, I channeled this information. Some spirit guide came to, this beautiful Native American group. They came and they said, because her father was in the boarding school in Canada, and when he was young, and everything happened to him, and he saw so much situation. And so they came and they say that there are two ways to be Native American right now, unfortunately. One is the victim kind of people. They stay in the victim kind of feeling. They feel loser. They have addiction, drunk, alcohol, or other kind of stuff. And they cannot stand up for themselves. They always carrying this anger or always having drama in their life. But the other one, the evolved one, the one that remember that Native American have this way to be in the flow, to be in the moment. Because they say Native American, a lot of them, they knew about what happened with white people will come. But also if they knew it, they welcome them, they help them. Because they knew that their path was already signed, already wrote. And so they follow the path. They knew that we'll have some moment where it'll be hard for all of them, but they choose to go by the flow. And they knew that this was the only way to go through that moment. And so it's happening right now. You see, don't let the anger, the emotion, the victimized, kind of situation take you down, because you're not going to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to hear from, because I never look at Native American this way. I say they need to reconnect to the old wave, in a way, old way, but the natural, the more harmonic way that they have. So when they connect to this and let go, because they recognize was part, they have a purpose, and it was reason why, and now we are going to another level. We are moving on, it's very, very important.
It is. And I think when we can just step back for a moment, which isn't always easy, but it's necessary, that we all take a step back and remember that we all had a hand in the creation of our own life. And we also chose to come in at this time knowing that many of these events were likely to happen. Some events were probably a possibility, and then there were likely events that were almost certain to come forth. And we knew we were going to be here for these times. The solution to the problem isn't to focus on those things, isn't to focus on the horrific actions of war, to focus on a particular side needing to be right. It's about learning what does the evolved human spirit, what does that evolved human spirit do to overcome that, to create a world where that isn't as likely, where that doesn't happen so often. And I think one of the most important lessons that I personally have learned through the last few years is that it doesn't matter what side you're looking at things from. There are 360 degrees in a circle. And one of the things that I love about the mushroom journeys that I've been doing and guiding people through is that it opens you up to, maybe you won't get the full 360, but you'll start to see from different degree points. So like, for instance, I've had clients who all of a sudden see things from the perspective of a family member who's wronged them. And they see through their eyes what they've been through. And they see the story from their point of view. And all of a sudden, all this compassion starts to come up in someone's heart, because they realize, oh, wow, it has been hard on them too. And they had to make certain decisions. Like, what else choice did they really have? And so what we really need to do as an evolved soul is to step in and see, okay, how many degrees of this circle am I actually looking from? And how can I broaden that degree point to eventually, what we would love to do is get to the full 360 degrees and see from everyone's point of view and know that nothing is ever really wrong. But there's a point of being able to accept that everyone's going to have their own journey. Everyone's going to have their own story and different characters. And again, those roles of the characters are going to be different for each person. Like, for instance, I'll just say, well, I could have a cousin and I could make them the villain. And, in their narrative, they're the hero and I'm the villain, like who's right, who's wrong? It doesn't matter. It's not about right or wrong. And that's where we have to elevate. And you can't elevate from that place when you are constantly focused on the horrifics of what's going on and leaning into one side or the other, just so that maybe you feel better about yourself, or you feel like you might be part of the solution if you're at least standing up for one side. And it's not ever going to get you the results that ultimately you want. It might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't get you the results that you want. And it takes a really strong soul to rise above this idea of duality and sides to see the full picture.
So we talk about compassion,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you are compassionate, you can understand that everything's happened for a reason, and everybody have their own reason why they did certain thing, you know, and it's very interesting. So you can go through either lifetime when you see that you are a kind of actor, what's up, you do it, and what kind of path you created, and what kind of deal you made with other people in this life. So, and you start to understand what was a lesson for you and what they taught you, you know. So I heard sometime as a contract, some they say, I asked my mom to be in this way with me because I need to learn through this experience. So, and she did it as an act of love. And when you heard that somebody does something very hard on their own children, and they did because it was part of the deal that they choose as a soul contract, it's not easy to listen, but you recognize, and this soul say, I did it because my child asked him to do as an act of love. I choose to act and to do this kind of, you know, I choose to do this kind of situation because it was part of the learning process for my child. So sometimes when we start to understand that also this way, you know, we made some contract, we decide something, what we are living most of the time is something that we ask for. We decide because we want to learn and understand more. Yes, you have no choice but to be compassionate and understand that everybody have their own perception and probably their own way. They are true to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's a constant battle. And I think too, like you said earlier, this is just another opportunity to create more division, to pull people apart, because obviously when we're working together, we're a lot stronger. That's you and I were just talking about this right before we started recording. Like, this was one of my biggest revelations for me at the retreat that I held. You know, it's like, oh my God, when you really do have the right support, when you are working with the right people and you're coming together, you're stronger together. You really are.
you can manifest everything. Everything
You
can
can,
happen.
oh my God, you manifest so much more. And that is like part of this. And so like when your energy is being stolen to go feed, you know, this other timeline narrative, the global narrative, then you're not feeding your own narrative of creation that you came in here to build. It's like we see this time and time again. You see it always in the movies and everything where, you know, someone's about to finally like, you know, be really successful and make a difference or like create something that's going to change the world. And I don't know, the bad guys, so to speak, you know,
Yeah.
come in and maybe like, I don't know, if it's, say it's a father, they'll hijack and steal the child. And so now, like, you know, it's your child's life. And now you got to focus on that. And it's totally to deter you and to warn you, like, don't go there. So like, that's really all this is. And of course, it's real. It's not that it's not real. It is real. But so is your life and what you're creating and the solutions that could be potentially so wonderful for this world. So focus on your legacy that you're building here, that you're a part of, and find people that you can work together with so that you're not part of this divisive process. Work on coming together with maybe some people that you wouldn't normally come together with, that people can surprise you, you know, and I think this is important.
One thing that I noticed, and sometimes I cut in this stuff too, okay, because it's so easy to be cut. So when people send me some information, some message, very, 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 you know, heavy stuff that it's happening, okay, situation or new regulation or new abusive situation, be careful about, you know, my suggestion is if you need to share something, share us of a solution, share something that, okay, this is what's happened, but look, we can do this, you know. So otherwise, be careful because you are trapped again in the old behavior that is negative and you support the negative. Also, if it's about let people know about it, you know, it's okay that everybody start to know that this is happening. But at the time, be careful because if you don't give a solution, if you don't not also say, okay, this is happening in this place. So why we don't decide to send love to these people, or why you decide to you know, collect stuff and send it to them, you know, whatever it is, I don't know, it can be something small, it can be related to your community, your place, or, you know, but always do your best to find always there is something that we can do in a positive way. And when you listen, some people, they say again and again bad stuff, be more careful. Yes, they give you information, but in the meantime, they need to give you a solution. Otherwise, these are play the bad guy too. They are creating more and more fear. They are creating more depression because, you know, when you listen to them, you're thinking, okay, you feel so mad and you feel angry. Ask yourself, this is the right person to follow, or these are the right people to listen? Make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, there's just because someone believes what they're saying is true doesn't make it true.
Oh.
And there are a lot of people out there who do really believe what they're saying is true. But again, like, there's so much we have to learn. There's so much we don't know. And that's why we have to always stay open. And, you know, being someone who is so set on like, this is what's going on, and I can, and continues on that path, you know, can really, it can lock you into something that maybe you don't want to be locked into.
When I challenge the author, sometimes different beings. So they told me, be careful about the saviors. Be careful about anybody play the saviors. Can be extraterrestrial, can be humans, doesn't matter. When they start to play the savior, they are not, and maybe they believe it. I don't say they don't believe in what they are doing, but they are controlled by somebody else. They are puppets. They don't know that they are, but be careful because you are your own savior, not anybody else. And when somebody try to play this and tell you that they're taking care of this, taking care of that, start to question. Start to question because they are not really the good people. They don't know, probably. Some of them, they really don't know. They are played too. But so be careful about the savior. This is the important part. And
yeah, because ultimately, even when we distill that down to the most basic fundamental form of relationship, that's a codependent relationship. And that's not healthy. And so that's not going to help you evolve. That's not going to help the other person evolve. And it's only helping someone else's agenda, whatever that might be. So, you know, and when we were talking about this idea of breaking free of these patterns, right? Because this is a pattern. This is a pattern that comes up. We see this all the time. I don't know why any of us should act surprised when these events occur, because we know they will. There's this important recipe or that comes through the matrix, right?
Yes.
There's a formula.
Yeah.
The formula within the matrix to continue these patterns.
Exactly. So my perception is, okay, it's my perception. Okay. Everybody is not, okay. I not in the stone place, but what I'm saying is, I'm feeling that we need to live in the matrix. We talk about you and I, you know, we
matrix,
matrix. And because otherwise we don't have any shape. It's like a container, but we need a container to keep us where we are. Maybe you are holograms. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like somebody is more hologram than we are. So I don't know. But what I'm saying is, and the only way to go out of this matrix, because everybody talk about go out of a matrix. Yeah, but you know, we can go out as a lucid dream with psychedelic journey, with, you know, when we do astral travel. So we are able to go outside and notice more information, have more and see, perceive more what's really going on. And this is perfect. But what I'm feeling is, it's like a Russian dolls, you know, with another and another and another. So beside this big, huge matrix that it is holding us and keep us inside, there is other inside that about power. It goes to the mass, it goes to the society, different kind of people. So it seems like we are contained inside a little tiny matrix. And so what I realize is when every day you don't go everything like you plan, and you immediately, you know, I feel like, oh, let me eat. And don't let your mind say, oh, but it's early. No, just eat, you know, do something spontaneously without thinking. Or for a moment, you're doing something and you end up to be in the garage and taking care of something in the car. Or decide, you know, oh, you want to go outside and breathe for 10 minutes and working in your breathing, and you never did before, you know. Stop it. It's happened to you in a second, and just do it. This is the way that you start to break this controlling matrix. And more you do this, be mindful, be in the moment, and don't let your mind say, are you kidding? What are you doing? So don't let your mind maybe go in the restaurant, and suddenly you want to do something different as a food. Just follow, do it exactly. So nothing is wrong with you. It's just one part of you helping you now to break free from the controlling part. Makes sense?
Yeah. So, okay. So the way I see when you're saying that is that we have a lot of habits that we do. We have a pattern in our life that we live, like maybe you're going to wake up at a certain time. You're going to go brush your teeth, or then you're going to jump in the shower, and then you're going to, get ready. You go to work at a certain time, you get in your car, you always have maybe it's your coffee. Okay. There's a certain rhythm that you're creating over and over and over again. And that's an entrainment, right? It's entraining and training your reality. When you stop that entrainment and you do something completely different than what you're used to, what you're doing is you're helping to shift a timeline, right? You're helping to get yourself out of a normal timeline that continuously creates the same results for you. And you now shift to a timeline that's going to create different results for you. Now, what those results are, you don't know yet because it's still new, but hey, that's part of the fun. Like, who would want to know all their Christmas presents before they open them up on Christmas morning, right? So, this is part of the process. Is you need to take moments in your day where you literally just stop yourself, and instead of going left all the time, you're going to go right this time.
But don't plan it. This is the trick part. Don't plan
it. You're going to see if you can stop yourself in the moment and be like, oh, opportunity, do something different than I would usually do. Like, maybe instead of drinking your coffee with your right hand, you pick it up with your left hand.
Perfect. Yes, it can be something silly. It can be something really, it doesn't need to be something big. Because I was listening that CERN, the experiment on this January on the
CERN.
CERN, sorry, not CERN.
Yes.
Different English, Italian.
No, yeah, no, I'm just letting the audience know, because they might, especially the people who are not on the video, they may not have been able to hear it. So for CERN, yeah.
Yes, CERN, they experiment on the timeline, and they took us out of sync. And in fact, it was interesting because starting from January, I felt that sometimes the synchronicity during the day, it can be strange. Okay, let me tell you, I'm very spoiled because from the day I was born, everything comes to me. So I live in synchronicity. I live in the manifesting my reality easier. Okay. Is how I am, so I used to think about something, and somebody would show up with information, or somebody would give it to me, so. And in the last year, I noticed more and more that there are some moments where it doesn't matter what I'm doing, it doesn't work. And I ask myself, I'm not supposed to do this. And I feel like, no, you're supposed to do it, but not now. Probably the synchronicity in the moment is not working. So nothing bad, but I need to repeat again and again and again, making a phone call or asking for an estimate or whatever it is, or send an email to my clients and it bounce back and say, what is going on? So, little thing that you repeat many times and it's the same. And you know that you're doing fine, but it doesn't work. And you need to take care again and again and again. What I ask why, and they say, okay, the explanation that they give it to me was interesting because they say, imagine that is a big organism, this planet, this, the cosmos, all of this is like a being that is breathing. And every time inhale and exhale, create the harmony, But lately, because of what's happened from January, there is some hiccup. And so when hiccup happened, you don't know when, you can have this moment where the synchronicity and of course the harmony is not going to be possible in your life, for can be a few minutes, can be a day, can be a couple of days. So, but it's very interesting. So they show me that this can happen. So nothing to be worried, but this explains why sometimes we need to pay attention and say, okay, maybe I need to wait tomorrow to do again, unless you need to take care immediately. But sometimes give yourself some time. Okay.
Yeah, if you've got some time on if time's on your side and you're not like completely pressed where like you're literally down to the last hours, then yeah, like it's stepping away and walking away is really valuable, because I found that this year, particularly like you've said, there have been so many instances where I'm doing something that normally it always works, and then it's not working anymore. And it'll just be for a moment, like you said, maybe it's hours, maybe it's a day or 2 days, but I just have to like walk away from it, and then I go back to it, and it's working, no problems.
Exactly. It's amazing. It's amazing how much it's happened different time. And so finally I realized, okay, normally I used to say, oh, it's not, maybe I'm not supposed to have it, or I'm not supposed to do it. But the answer, no, you're too supposed. So I thought, what? I say, not now. I said, not now, it's okay. So I start to learn how to do it. So everybody pay more attention. And when something happens, just wait a moment and say, okay, it's going to be fine. Give myself a time.
It's just a hiccup from the universe.
Okay. I know it's funny, but it's
But it's true, because when you think about it, if you're hiccuping or you're having a cough attack or you're just even coughing, you can't do anything else but that. Like that is the only thing you can actually focus on. It's so even though it's minor, it's still very disruptive. And so in these moments, you can kind of think about it as a hiccup of the universe, where the universe can't align with you right now. Like it's not going to work that way. Like there's just this, either there's this big belch coming out, or there's a cough, or there's a hiccup, there's something going on. And do you feel like that's related to the experiment through CERN?
Pretty sure, because I start to feel more and more January, and I heard this message, this information a few months later, and I thought, oh, this explains why. Because I thought, what's wrong with me? Because my first thing that everybody has, like, okay, what's wrong with me? Something is not right. What's going on? But the truth is really something that is planetary. So, and sometimes can affect more. In fact, sometimes what I do, because sometimes I ask I have 2 or 3 friends like you, ask, okay, do you have any feeling about today? But it's a little different. And most of the time he's like, yes, today was so hard. Nothing was working. So, and you realize, okay, you see, was the hiccup, was the moment where nothing was working. So I cannot imagine how certain people, they do customer service or staff always involved with people, how they can manage it, because I cannot imagine. So I believe that sometimes it's overwhelming. So it's why I say, pay attention, because if you can move some stuff and do the day after, it's going to be better. So don't think that something is crazy, because it will drive you more crazy if you insist and you persist in the same moment. It's not going to work, is what I'm trying to say, because I try, and I'm telling you, I'm very persistent when I decide something, but nothing was able to change. It was amazing. I did it for the time just to see, and I was like, yes, doesn't work, doesn't matter, So, and because also everybody noticed that the time is sometimes stretched and sometimes dilated, like become big in the same day. Have you noticed? Sometimes like you wake up and you have plenty of time to do everything, and after maybe in afternoon you look at the clock and say, oh, 3 hours gone away. Like, so you will have this moment also combined to a hiccup. You really need to be on the floor and accept the fact, okay, whatever happened, we are moving. So because the planet is already moving, and because the planet doesn't have a mind, humans use a lot of a mind. We have head every time, we question, we doubt, we create this fear, or maybe we don't believe, The planet is moving. It's already moving to another dimension. It's already dancing to a transition. So because of this, sometimes we having our time to adjust, because everything starts to move already. But we're still going between dimensions, back and forth, because every time we anchor ourselves to old beliefs, some fear, the fear of don't be able to pay for the bill, the fear of not be able to do this. So every time we doubt about yourself, or the anger, the neighbor, these people, or or take a party, about politician and stuff. Every time we go back instead of moving forward. So can you see the zigzag every time, like two step
Forward, one step back. Yeah.
So it's okay.
It's a process. It's not an event here. Like it's not gonna happen overnight.
And it's fine. More we can conscious of this and laugh about it, because my way is, oh, come on. So I start to laughing. I start to say, okay, whatever. So, and I move forward. Every time you recognize and you laugh about it is a way to let go. This is my suggestion. Is a way to say, okay, whatever. I know I'm moving and I'm fine. It's okay. And sometimes look at my back and say, oh, whatever. Okay. And so when you recognize, but sometimes you go back in the old way and you think, okay, again, it's okay. Okay, can we forward? So you do this and you let go and you move and you let go. Make sense? And more you do, more you're going to move. And this is the best way to deal with.
Yeah, no, I think that's really great advice, because it's true. There's so many, we can make some adjustments and we can be in these moments where everything's like working out and everything. But as soon as like that fear comes in or something doesn't go right, like when there can be this hiccup and you're like, why isn't it working? And you start to freak out and you start to push even harder. It's like, okay, no, I got to make it work. I got to make it work. And not realizing when we're out of the flow, right? And we're not allowing for there to be a minor disruption. And it comes to the part of our own ego and the need to control things, which I'm very, very adept at. I love to control everything in my reality. And so this is a major lesson for me of learning how to like step back and saying, okay, well, maybe my plan was to do it this way, but maybe my energy is needed elsewhere right now, or maybe I just need to stop. Whatever it is, but to break the pattern is really crucial in evolving to a place where you're not used to the results that you're getting, and they're the results you want. Like they're better results.
Yes. And again, project what you desire from your heart. Project. So every time you hear something negative, do your best, switch. As of now, about this situation, the war, switch on peaceful people, hugging each other, kiss each other, say, we are fine, we are united, we are part of the same people because we are human. Who cares about religions? Who cares about, land? It's time for letting go of this. This is part of the past. So start to project a positive, and manifesting positive thing, positive way to live, positive way to see the society every time. Don't forget this, because we are manifestor. And every time we believe it and we create in our mind something positive, we're going to make it. Maybe not immediately. We're going to take maybe some time. But more we are doing in this way, thinking this way, more we're going to create it. This is so important.
Yeah.
Be a visionary. I don't think that is BS. Be a visionary means that you want to empower yourself. Means that you know that in a way or another, everything's going to be better and better and better.
Yeah. And remember that if we want the world that we've never had, we have to be different humans than we've ever been. You can't be the same way and expect the world to project something different to you. You've got to be different. So each and every one of us is a little ingredient in this whole planet of Earth of helping the evolutionary process. And unfortunately, you don't have control over everyone else, because if we did, it's just another matrix looking at like, oh, there's another controlling factor. But you just know that you are more powerful than you're led to believe. And you discover that power by really focusing on your reality and starting to shift it in ways that you can do things differently than you've ever done them before. Like it's so wild. Like I just total like sidebar here, but I did another journey on the weekend on Friday, and I opened up this portal to Atlantis. And for the first time in my life where it's been so vivid, I physically, with my own eyes, not in my third eye, this is with my physical eyes in my room, because I always do my journeys in my bedroom. In my room, I saw all of these symbols lit up in holographic form and coming at me and floating all around me. And there was all this information that I was being downloaded with from some ancient Atlantean time. And as I'm looking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen it this strongly, like so much in my field. I literally could read the field around me. And it's almost like I was like putting my hand out and I was like touching things in the air. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is just wild. And it's because, part of this process, I think, is allowing each and every one of us to push ourselves a little bit further than we've ever gone before, do things that you've never done. And I'm not necessarily saying it's just the mushrooms, that it is doing that. I mean, obviously they're a part of that, but it's like lately I've been choosing different things than I've ever chosen before. And they're much bigger than I'm used to choosing. So they do create this like, oh my gosh, but what if it goes wrong? Oh no, but it's like, you've got to get out of your comfort zone. You've got to do things that are out of your normal pattern.
I agree, because when you have a fear, you create resistance.
Mm-hmm.
When you're allowing, everything's changed. So it's important. Don't make resistance. Let go. And if you have any moment where you feel like uncomfortable, ask for protection. Call your guardian angel, if you believe in guardian angel, or whatever you feel more comfortable. You hire yourself and ask to be guided and be protected and feel comfortable about it. Okay. So whatever happened. In fact, people ask me a lot of time how I can be connect with myself more, and everybody's different. So, okay, accept the fact that for the same meditation doesn't work for everybody.
No.
Sometimes you like one type, but work on the nature if you cannot do meditation, or pick up from Oracle deck one message and ask, what do I need to know for today? Or what is going on about it? Or what kind of message do I need to? And listen the message and pay attention, And every time you decide, okay, I'm going to focus on the message, it can be something silly. Let me make an example. I'm doing a new recipe, a cake. And unfortunately, the part about they say how many grams or pounds of the flour need to be is deleted, or the page didn't print right, so whatever. So I'm thinking, what are you going to do now? And I turn the TV, or somebody call me, and the person says something about a number or something, and I know exactly, but it's above this what I need to have as information. So sometimes, you go outside and you wonder about how to take a trip or to go in some place, and you go outside and somebody's talking to somebody else and say, yes, yes, yes. So this is your answer. So pay attention, because we are surrounded by messages and information.
Yes.
But because we don't pay attention, we don't realize how much we know already. We have an answer inside or outside us, in our surrounding, that can help us to go with the flow. This is very important.
Yes. And I gotta say, like this experience really opened me up more to like realizing how much is actually around us, like in this space that we don't really see anything with our physical eyes, in this spectrum, and just seeing how rich it is with all of this information and what's interacting with us. And it's just so wild. And even speaking to like what you just said, like this, you and I doing this podcast, like I was supposed to be recording with someone else, last week, and they canceled on me, like 30 minutes before recording. And I'm like, and I'm like, that's really unprofessional. And really, to be quite honest, I think it's rude. And I was like, there was a part of me that was, but I was like, no, okay, it's not meant to be. This is not meant to go on my podcast.
I texted you probably the same day, maybe, or I don't know.
But that day you had reached out to me and said, hey, let's talk. And I was like, okay. And we took a day to get together to finally like talk, because there was some technical issues, but again, maybe there was a hiccup going on there. I don't know, and so and then realizing, oh, why, we brought up some information. I'm like, oh, you wanted to do another podcast. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. And so it all worked out. And, and it's interesting because sometimes when you start making these newer choices, right, and you start breaking the pattern, the choices that you would have always said yes to, or maybe even not always say yes, but you feel maybe obligated to say yes to, now those don't work so well in this new reality, and they get pulled out, and the right things start to get brought in.
Yes, and one good news is yesterday I was talking to my higher self, because my higher self, Oyona Saltean, is in the future. Okay, and I am one of the, she called me units. I'm one of the many parts. Like, units, really? Okay, I'm just a unit to you, so it's okay. But
say like one diamond in the ring.
Just a little part. Okay, so I asked and asked Archangel Michael. They both say that because they work together in different situations, not now, because Michael is taking care of the units, so he protects them and make sure that they do what they need to do. So this was very interesting too. And Michael say that the future is already changing for the best, because at the beginning, when I connect with my higher self, she said, we have not a very good future, okay? And the reason why I send you my units in the past or whatever, in this timeline, different timeline, is to make sure that we're gonna build a better future. And I thought, wow, I was kind of concerned. And Michael yesterday say, is already changing in a positive way. Everything's changing. So this seems to me that whatever we are doing, sometimes we don't feel it, we don't see it, but it's happening. We are making the changes in our reality for everybody. So we are doing it.
I see it. I can't tell you like how much I'm seeing it. I know that there's always going to be crappy things going on in this world. It's part of this existence. It's part of this reality. And also you've got to know that when you're trying to break free of a system, and create one that's actually more in alignment with the future that a lot of us envision, that you likely have to have those two systems working simultaneously. It's not just like one turns off and the other one turns on, like one starts to break down and the other one starts to gain momentum. And so you've got to like understand that you're going to still see all that stuff. But when you really start to choose differently for yourself and you really change where your focus and your energy is going, and you allow yourself to see everything, that 360-degree viewpoint that we're talking about, then all of a sudden you can see that there are some major shifts that have happened in the last few years, major shifts for the positive, and it's only going to continue to go that way. I can't express it enough how much I'm starting to see people's consciousness opening up and leveling up and expanding in ways that just 5 years ago, we didn't see this.
I agree. In particular, I noticed a lot of men. I have more male clients recently reach out to me and for my session, and I'm very pleased because it means to me that they are starting to question more. They're starting to be more open to understand this way, and I'm very happy about it because again, it's part of a shift, part of the energy that is shifting and moving. And so, if more male are more interested in this, because women, we are connect more with our emotion. Men, they are having, they struggle, a lot of men. So they want to be more part of this, understand more. I think it's a lot, it's big. It's more that we can really realize.
It's good. And we need more men because we need more of that practical, grounded energy that's going to create a little more of the structure. And it's not that the women don't create structure or anything like that, but it's just in general, the energies of the masculine are more structured and more like they're more focused and able to contain something or create something. So
and again, it's part of be united, connect together. It's the only way, because there is always too much difference. So this way we're gonna have blend more. The idea is to blend in more. The masculine, the feminine, they need to blend in order to create this beautiful fabric, because this is what we're going to be in the future. Holding the time together, space together.
And the tapestry is already looking beautiful. Like the tapestry is already beautiful in my mind. Like I already love it. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about where we're going and where things are headed in our world. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to have major events, you know, coming our way that are going to be really disruptive or horrible for us to even witness, or in many people's cases actually be in participation of it in some way, whether you wanted to or you didn't. Like it doesn't mean none of that's going to happen, but I mean, you can't expect a smooth ride that's just going to keep, you know, going upward. Like there's going to be these ebbs and flows and these bumps along the road that we're going to have to continuously go over, because that's how we get better. That's how we evolve. That's just the natural process of things. And when you're in denial of that, and you want just this idealistic road of paved golden bricks ahead of you, you know, that maybe doesn't even you have to walk. Maybe there's a conveyor belt on there that you're just going to be taking, you know, like that's not really what you want.
It's again, every time you recognize that a monster can be your master,
yes.
You know, every time you recognize that there is maybe a lesson to learn. So ask yourself, what I need to learn from this? Instead of being angry, say, okay, give yourself a moment, because sometimes anger is important too, because it helps you to move. But I say, okay, what is the lesson here? What I'm learning today? And again, don't lose your hope. Hope is very, very important. Believe that we are doing something. Believe also, if you don't see it, that something is changing, something is doing better. We are going and we are doing it, because it's what we are. We are strong. And of course, together we are stronger. And again, reach out for other people like you, some friends, some people that you know that they gonna be like you, supporting you, not judging you. So it's very important. Choose the right people, be surrounded by the right people. And if you are working in an environment that is not good, ask yourself why you're there, to bring the light. So be strong. But if the job is done, move forward, look for something else. Do a different job where you need to be happy. Everybody, allow yourself to be happy. Allow yourself to have happiness in your life. You need to have some happiness in your life. We need it.
Oh my gosh, I know. Because I mean, it's such a good vibration too, and it's contagious very quickly, which is a good contagion. It's a good contagigion. Yes. So, do you want to do a little channel to see if there's any messages that we could tap into?
Every time? Okay.
I think we've got a little bit of time to do that.
Okay. Yes.
I'll let you kind of go into your space.
Okay. Let me call the authors, because I have this couple always working with me. Okay, they're already here. Greetings. My name is Arita, and I'm here today, and we enjoy so well to be part of this podcast today. We are surprised because, like Consuelo said, nothing is prepared, and so this is perfect. And it's what we are looking for, helping humanity to be not so prepared, so in a good way. And we are from 12 dimensions, so it's easier for us to don't be in the mind. And this is part of your journey. Remember that it's very important that all of you understand that each of you have a purpose. Each of you have a real meaningful way to be here. So don't think of yourself that you're not worth it. It's very important. And this is why the other side wants you to feel that you are not worth it and you're not powerful. So this is the line where when you stand up and start to say, enough, I know who I am, and I'm looking for understand more about myself, is the way that you break free yourself. Don't let anybody else tell you what you can or you cannot. Remember how strong and powerful you are. And all of us, we can make a better reality. So our desire is always support all of you. And remember, us, we went through similar situation in a different timeline, but we went through the same. So don't think that we are gods. We don't think we're infallible, because we felt too. We have moments where we thought that we're doing right and we did wrong. So it's okay. It is okay to recognize that sometimes we don't do right, and we are okay to recognize this. It's part of a learning, it's part of a journey. So we are wishing all of you to increase your energy and to recognize how important you are, each of you. You are part of something important. Yes, the matrix, but remember, you are more than just this matrix. You are really more. And the matrix is something that, again, help you also to connect. Maybe you don't see in this way because the way that other beings use the matrix is disconnect you from your own reality, but it's not always in this way. So use it. Remember, you can always use what you have, your reality, for something important and good for you. Anything can be used in two ways, to make problem or to create solutions. It's up to you how you use your reality. So we are blessing all of you for listening to us today. And if Nicole is okay, we will say that the message is done for today. And we are very grateful to be here.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, kind of remember partially, but okay.
No, that was really nice. There was especially the part about understanding that this matrix is allowing us to connect in different ways. And also that, it's a choice. How we want to use anything can use it as a solution, or we can use it as creating more of a problem.
Okay, makes sense. I never thought about the matrix as but yeah, okay. Can be a connection. Yeah, we are in the same matrix. So energetically speaking, we are connected. And okay.
Yeah, and it makes sense to me because I've always, I shouldn't say I've always, but I've learned through the years how to utilize the matrix to your advantage, right? Like every system, there's back doors, there's trap doors, there's ways to do things. And so once you start to understand how the system works, there's ways around things, or there's ways to use it to your advantage.
I'm Italian, so I know how to do this.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we have so many domination. If you look at Italy as a history, it was divided in different regions for a long, long time, and for different domination, French, Austrian, Spanish, Arabian, so Greece, and Roman. So everything was, so we need to find a way to say, okay, you have this rule. We need to find a way to go around this rule, new rule, new owner, new people, new king, whatever, so.
Yeah. So it was really nice. And I think what's important is I also really like the part where they talked about that, that they also thought they were doing the right thing and it wasn't the right thing. And that that's why it's so important to always leave space to understand that no matter how right you might think something is, it may not be as right as you think. And leaving space for growth, humility, is always your best friend in this case. It's really important to have that, and to know that I think it's just a nice reminder. Would you rather be right, or would you rather be happy? Yes. And this is something I ask myself often when it comes into an area where there might be conflict, where I feel like I might have been wronged, or, like whatever it might be. And is it really important to be right? Or is it better to be happy? And truthfully, in this lifetime, I'd much rather be happy than right.
And I would say, it's right to be happy.
It's right to be happy. Yes. Good way to end it, Consuelo. Well, let everyone know where they can find you if they'd like to book a session with you, and what you've got going on.
Yes, there is always my website, balanceevolution.com, just waiting back to Balance Evolution. And you can always book a session with me in person or online. And, I'm going to start to maybe create some classes, but I'm still working on this because my way would be very, like I say, spontaneous, be in the moment. So it's why I need to figure out how to offer this kind of classes. And my sessions are in this way, because you know me, every time we can talk before the session and I have some opinion. And when I open the session, everything can be completely different. And so it's why I'm always in the moment. And I always allow spirits and higher self and soul connect and do what is necessary in the moment. I believe that it's going to be the best way to work for all of us in the future. Because
well, okay, it's interesting you say that, because that was mentioned at the beginning of your message, that they talked about how they're trying to prepare humans to be less prepared and to just be able to kind of be, in that way you can flow a little more. Now, I want to say with a caveat, because it's absolutely true what they're saying, but sometimes people can throw the baby out with the bathwater. And this is something that even for my retreat, I put in a lot of time. I can't even tell you how many hours, days, weeks I spent preparing all of this stuff for the retreat, to the point where I knew I might even be over prepared. I had more than I needed for that retreat to happen, but I wanted to have it there and then know that I would also be willing to bend and go with the flow and let certain things that I thought I wanted there fly out the window. And so when you can create some structure and know that, okay, this is kind of my loose plan, but I'm also open to knowing that I might not need that and something better might come in the moment, and I got to be able to shift gears. And I think that's a really great way of going about it, because you don't want to go completely unprepared. You want to have some sort of preparation, but you also have to know when to say something better just came in and I'm going to use that instead.
I agree totally. And I see every day in my session, and every time I do something, like you said, I have a moment where I completely forgot about situation and I think, oh, shoot, I have this in a few minutes. And I thought, okay, yeah, I'm prepared, but, not to the point. So, and I feel that this is the best way to be right now, to be prepared, but leave some space from feeling and be more, I don't say impulsive, but be more connect with yourself, with the energy, with the flow, but go by the flow. This is what I want to say.
Yeah.
Go by the flow and allow this and be positive in your way. You're not naive because you are always positive. No. And it's okay to see some moment. It's okay to recognize something, but in the meantime, shift and use it. Use it, everything comes to you in a way that you can be better, you can feel better.
Yeah, give yourself that moment. If there's a moment where you're like angry, I gave myself that moment to be angry at the person who like canceled on me like last minute. And then I was like, okay, let it go now. And like on to like, let go, like where am I supposed to be? And so that's what it's all about. And so that was a really good part of the message too. So thank you, Consuelo, for being on, and I'll leave all the links for people to book with you in the description below. And of course, guys, if you're interested, just remember, I always have the Alchemy program here, a great family in there. If you're looking for support, if you're looking to make connections with people who are more like-minded and exploring this journey that is ever unfolding and so incredibly rich with different experiences, healing, and new ways of perspectives of looking at things and all that, then Alchemy would be a great place for you. And if you need any sessions with me, I'll leave all the links for that in the description below as well. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next week for our full moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. Mary Decina will be here. This is a big one. So we'll see you next week. Thanks again for joining me for another show on the Enlighten Up podcast. I love you guys so much for all of your continued support. So remember to raise your vibe, find your tribe, and be open to the infinite possibilities held in the mysteries that surround us all. Thanks again for sharing the show with your family and friends. And if you're new to the show and you need to find out more information about me, please head on over to my website, NicoleFrolick.com, where you can join my newsletter. And please follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. Keep your light bright, and I'll see you next week.